Good morning, everyone. This is Generic Fool's Test. Well, I'm starting a bit earlier than normal because I woke up a bit earlier than I normally would. I know I said I might play Lunar this morning, but I figured that before I forget, I should probably show, hi person. I figured, how are you doing this morning? That's good to hear. But yeah, I figured that before I, wait, where is it? Oh yeah, it's a different video. Before I decided that I wanted to play Jocat videos because, person hasn't seen it, and there's probably a few other people who follow me who might not have seen it. So I figured I might as well show you. So, person, we saw the How to Barbarian, a crap guide to Barbarian. But now it's time to go to Bard.
Frail spellcasters, whack. Close quarters combatants, whack. Immobile tanks, whack. Me, I'm tight as fuck. First time playing D&D, I realized I'm too cool for any sort of specialized role. But that was only because I hadn't figured out that there's only one way to play it right. With a sword in one hand and a harp in the other, shouting my greatness from the rooftops, laying bitches and slaying witches. Or is it laying witches and slaying bitches? I can't quite remember. I was too busy giving the tavern owner a reason to stay in business. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. The jack of all trades, master of none is still better than someone who only has one gimmick and has to hide for the rest of the fight because they've run out of class features and spell slots. If the sword and shield were an RPG class, it would be the...
Well, yes. The Bard, very spoony, which, that's an old reference to an old game which you've probably never heard of. Like Rogue, but cooler. Not true. I will not accept this rogue slander. I don't play edgelord rogues. It's like roasts enemies to death. Literally, they have an ability that basically is insult an enemy and do damage. Fuck your way out of into and out of trouble. Kind of, yeah. And Felicia Gristato, like level 8 tiefling.
The Bard, one that's good at doing everything and doing everyone. You can cast spells, learn tons of skills, support allies, harm allies, support enemies, woo crowds, boo crowds, and most importantly, lay dragons. It's the most versatile class, and it's...
Proficiency equipment. Light armor, more game than Batman. Okay, I don't know about that, depending on which incarnation of Batman. Some swords are wimpy weps, noisemaker, and a stabby stick. Yes, indeed.
Its various archetypes allow you to fill literally any role, so who even needs anything else? Need DPS? College of Swords. Need a tank? College of Valor. Want to make rogues useless? College of Whispers. Need to get good at the game? College of Sit Down, Shut Up, and Listen. Your most important feature, Bardic Inspiration, is like the little girl Wolverine version of the Big Daddy Logan, and is absolutely game-breaking. By being a radiant concentration of pure awesomeness, you can allow anyone else an additional die to roll and add to almost anything. Think that weak-ass wizard won't be able to make the con save against that poison attack? Inspired. The fighter needs to land the killing blow on an enemy with a high armor class. Inspired. Your wingman just told you about a hot piece of sliz that walked into a high-class tavern and that he needs you to hype him up to be able to talk his way in and maybe nab a few extras on the way out for you. You best bet your ass that homie's gonna be inspired. In fact, screw your wingman. You can do it yourself. Jack of all trades and expertise means whatever you're bad at, you're suddenly good at, and whatever you're good at, you're suddenly unbelievably amazing at. Nothing can stop you. Well, maybe except a pretty face. By playing D&D, you automatically sign an unwritten contract that forces you to write your character to fall under the purest stereotype of...
I can't think of a funny way to depict stereotypes without being horribly offensive, so here's a drawing of a little elephant. That certainly is a drawing of a little elephant. Oh my god! I cannot believe that Jocat drew a picture of a little elephant. Oh my god, we need to cancel him again. Can you believe this person? It's so disgusting. How could somebody do this? Obviously, I'm joking, but there are some people out there who I need to literally say, I am not saying we should cancel Jocat. Jocat deserves to live a happy life with lots of support. He's a really great guy. And any time people talk about meeting him in person, they talk about how funny and nice he is. But yeah.
Of whatever class you pick. Everybody knows you have to follow that contract or else Matt
I agree to play a horny bard.
Mercer will sneak into your house and throw foam noodles at you from the corner of your living room. All wizards are smartass.
Wait, what was that? Shoot. Damn it. Disclaimer, Matt Mercer will not actually throw foam noodles at you for not playing a stereotypical D&D character, because he doesn't judge the way you have fun and is a genuinely swell guy. He may throw foam noodles at you for other reasons, however, so you should still watch your back. You can still have hope that Matt Mercer will come into your house and throw wet noodles at you, it just won't be for that reason.
All wizards are smartass eggheads, all rogues are kleptomaniacs, and all bards are lust-compelled sex deviants. It's just the rules, I don't make them. And of course, the main gimmick of the bard is that it's artistically expressive in some way. People usually think this means musician. That's because their brain are like this, while my brain are like this. They can sing, dance, paint, prance, make a pretty dirt drawing with a lance. Plenty of ways to further enhance the battlefield if given the right chance. Now you know how to play bard, you're welcome. Now this may sound rather odd, but sometimes the best in the squad is the one with the cross who can smite like a boss by harnessing the bitch slap of God. With a mace that even ogres will flee, you'll cast and crush things with glee. Some think they're not strong and those people are wrong. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. The support is someone everyone wants on their
So we agree to have a balanced party. Now who wants to be the healer?
team, but nobody wants to
Not
be.
it.
Lucky for you, the cleric
Can cure others' depression but not their own. Just wants to help. Heals for days. Undead bully. Do you have time to talk about Greater Wiggler? About the Great Wiggler? Oh yeah. The Wiggler is the hat thing he's wearing. Gladiel Stoutbro. Level 5 elf.
is like a support that decided to buy a taser after being too fed up with being told to heal the barbarian who ran into a 1v20 encounter. Clerics are the religious fandoms in the D&D world that are so crazy into their deities that they've turned their fangirling power into something that can actually pack a punch. Having the same armor proficiency.
Light and medium armor and shields. Heavy armor with certain domains. Nerd skills. Fucking free mail. Holy symbol, aka waifu pillow. Shield baby!
Efficiencies as a fighter and the self-sustaining capabilities of a paladin that's been juicing with unicorn hooves and dragonborn acid. They have so many teeth-grindingly infuriating spells at their disposal on top of all that dungeon masters all over the world universally agree to.
I feel like we may have gone a bit tad overboard with buffs. Clerics are scary, oh my god, with the amount of stuff that they can do to improve the party or just, you know, deal massive damage to opponents.
Ban clerics from the game so as to not make encounters absolute nightmares to give proper challenge without throwing approximately 20 black dragons at one cleric alone to keep it balanced. Spells like Flash Gordon, Buddy Cop Weapon, and Does My Hand Smell Bad to You are so stupidly strong at such a low level it's easy to forget why so many uncultured swine consider the cleric a designated healer. Anyone who does has either never played the class or considered the sword and shield a viable weapon in Monster Hunter. Wait, unlike most other classes.
I haven't shown you the Monster Hunter videos, but he keeps going on about sword and shield being the ultimate weapon pairing.
You pick your archetype at first level, and you have oodles, canoodles, and toaster strudels to choose from. To summarize, you have Heel Bitch, Nerd, Sunburn, and My Axe, Nobody Dies, Nobody Cares, and a couple of more that I'm too lazy to mention. Seriously, with how versatile and independently strong you can build a cleric, you can make up an entire party full of purely priests, call it the Amen, and bust down Tiamat's door demanding her lunch money. And she would just build her own toilet to give herself swirlies so she wouldn't have to endure the kind of bullying you're about to give her. Channel Divinity gives you special limited use effects depending on your domain, and can be as dumb as Turn Undead, where the power of the gods can make a zombie run away from you like it's regained its ability to smell and realizes you've been sleeping with your Jesus blanket that you haven't washed in months. Or as useful as Guiding Strike, where you can choose to add 10 billion points to your attack roll so you'll be able to swat one fly with another fly's deuce being whipped around on a string like a yo-yo strung around your pinky toe while blindfolded. The only downside is that you get a pitiful amount of uses, like a gym 2 weeks after New Year's. And finally, the most notable trait of the cleric is Divine Intervention, where if you are a good boy or girl all year praying happy thoughts and burning that dank holy kush, if you wish upon a star, the clouds in the heavens will part and the literal gods will stop playing their game of Jenga to fix whatever dumb problems you and your party have gotten into, and then avoid you for 7 days debating whether or not to write you a holy restraining order after seeing you pissed your pants fangirling over your religious senpai noticing you. And now you know how to play cleric. Amen.
Oh yeah.
Senpai noticing you. And now you know how to play.
Oh yeah, that's a god I'm willing to worship. Oh yes.
Cleric. Amen. I don't understand tree huggers. What has the environment ever done for us? It's not like it provides oxygen, resources for tools, housing, clothes, food, and technology or anything important like that. And it's definitely not like it's home to various species of plants and animals required to keep the ecosystem alive to continue to feed mankind's insatiable appetite to destroy, consume, and rebuild in his own image, ultimately resulting in the annihilation of the very world that brought him into existence. Nah, fuck all that. The environment clearly exists for us to skin innocent animals that are minding their own business so we can wear them as high fashion. I mean, just look at bears. All they do is steal my chips and shit in my backyard. Well, guess what, Yogi? It's payback time. And what better way to give it than undercover as one of their own? They'll never see it coming. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. The druid is what happens when a ranger decides.
Crazy cat person. Extremely convincing fursuits. Rode down the highway. Broke the limit. We hit the town. Zappy bird. Speaks for the fleas. Rick Mo, Gajuga, level 4 halfling.
To fully commit to being a furry/hippie instead of just half-assing it because they're only trying to impress that sexy dryad they met in the forest that one time. They're primarily a casting class, but unlike clerics with their holy senpai, warlocks with their sugar daddies, bards with their awesomeness, or sorcerers with their rich magical parents and
I mean, it was only a small loan of 1,000,000 platinum pieces. I'm a self-made mage.
inheritance. Druid's magic comes from Mother Nature and from
Hi, Mom. Wait, what did she say? Hi, Mom. Watch me kill goblins.
Druid's magic comes from Mother Nature, and from first-hand experience I can tell you now she's an absolute bitch. Shut up, bitch. At second level, you can fulfill every furry's dream and transform into an animal. But not just any old lameo neon-colored oversaturated mess like Argent Darksnout the rainbow dog with an indie band t-shirt over there. No, I mean cool animals like my original character, Grabblejean, the nocturnal giant toad. Don't steal! Your archetype will be based around whether you want to be part of the forces of nature or if you want it to work for you. To list them off, land for different flavors of spells, moon for when you want to take your persona to the next level, dreams for if you secretly want to play a cleric, shepherd for if you want to be king of the wigglers, spores for if you want to reenact The Last of Us, and twilight for that sweet, sweet edge. Just like all the classes, your features improve with your level. Where druids differ is that their animal-related features mean that the beasts you summon or wear fursuits of don't necessarily get stronger, but rather they're thrown into the garbage and replaced by things with increasingly more fleas. Moreover, they gain additional features a regular animal couldn't imagine if it was high on devil weed, which gets fucking terrifying at later levels. Imagine this scenario. You're walking in the woods, there's no one around, and your phone is dead. Suddenly, spiky thorns sprout out around you, making movement painful. An adorable bunny rabbit sitting in front of you, seemingly harmless, suddenly starts shooting giant bees out of its eyeballs and turning the tree branches around you into black mambas. Design an encounter for that, Dungeon Master. And
okay, well, you can't cast sticks to snakes anymore in D&D, or at least I don't think you might be able to now, but back when I played, they didn't have sticks to snakes. For those who don't know, in early editions of D&D, there's a magic called sticks to snakes, where you just grab a stick, throw it at somebody, and it would turn into a snake. A poisonous snake. So, you know, he was just making a throwback to that. Also, I don't know if you want me to pause on every single time there's a text thing, because otherwise we may be here for ever.
And now you know how to play druid, you're welcome.
I like the little figurines he has of each character he's done. That helps you tell chronologically which one we've done and which ones we have not done.
Fighter-Man,
Fighter-Man.
over.
Oop. I forgot to. Okay, well, yeah, there.
Fighter-Man, Fighter-Man, overall he is fairly bland. Hit some stuff, hit some more. Outside combat is quite a bore. Look out, he is a Fighter-Man.
I like the harpsichord.
Gee, I wonder what it does. It's a goddamn mystery. Who knows? I'll say it because nobody else will. If you pick fighter, odds are you're also likely to pick human because you're basic like that. And that's not just me saying that, it's science. Human fighters pop out of the woodwork like rabbits on Viagra because people are incapable of choosing something unique even when they're given options like playing as a kobold paladin who prays to asteroids just before they crush an unfortunate man's cabbage cart. Just look at me, for example, artistic phenomenon and originator of the satirical talk fast genre of videos. What do you mean I'm not the first one to come up with the idea? I don't need these lies coming out of you. Everything I make is completely original and everybody knows it. Come on, Master Chief, let's get the fuck.
Well, actually, like I have never actually quickly looked at that. Like, let's see. Pay attention to me, all right? Aren't I interesting? Like that stuff. The nobody cares videos. Sequel cashing in on a fluke success. Yeah. Fucking let's plays like we need more of those. Zero punctuation slash side of salt knockoff. Actually, do you know about the side of salt and zero punctuation? Well, zero punctuation you might not know of. Especially since Yahtzee is, well, not as happy with it. Or I don't know if he's left or like. A British man decided to do some game reviews years ago, and then an American I believe it was an American company, basically picked him up and started giving him money so that he could do his quick, like, swarmy reviews. And now he lives here, and, well, from what I heard last, he basically quit because they mistreated somebody he really liked in the company that he felt was doing a good job. And they started their own thing, though I don't know how that turned out. Side of Salt is, man, I forgot his name. But he's also another animator. He did stuff a long time ago. Stopped for a while and then came back. You know, though he's also another, like, you know, socially awkward animator guy. Okay, 1 second, let me check. I'm going to... Let's see... Side of Salt... Scott Falco, yeah. He's, another guy who's a pretty fun person, though sometimes he says, I don't agree with everything he says, because some of the videos he made are lacking the understanding. Like, he made a somewhat critical video of Undertale, although his, he can't, in the next game, in Deltarune, he did go like, oh, you know, complaining about the narrative in this narrative-driven game is kind of foolish, don't you agree? But the part that annoyed me is when he was complaining about Undertale. The point of Undertale is you are aware you have the ability to save. So anytime you choose to keep that you've killed somebody, it's not a case of, oh, you decided to, you know, kill people to start and then change your mind. You have the ability to go back and undo all your things in Undertale. So the game is calling you out for literally not doing that. You may be trying to act like, oh, my character changed his mind, but if you really changed your mind, wouldn't you go back and not kill anyone?
What up, Warriors of...
Oh, no, it's too early for that. That's the recent ones which he's done. But yeah.
Everybody knows it. Come on, Master Chief, let's get the fuck out of here. Fighters are the purest...
I assume you know who that is, who he's calling Master Chief. Like this character here. It's not Master Chief. You don't know who this is, correct? Yeah. I have to say, because some people are like, oh, I don't know who that is. Like, oh, come on, it's Samus.
Here, fighters are the purest essence of the combat side of D&D.
Dude, McBoy guy. Hope you have a lot of dice. Maneuvers over to you. And have another one. Bo Burnham reference. Bo Burnham. John McFighterman, level 6 human. You know who Bo Burnham is? Well,
all about hitting.
I'm adding stuff so that way I can remember to make possible videos later. So I'm just going to, I'll check that out later. I need to find a proper good video relating to him. So that way, you know, I can just properly find something. But
Hitting things hard and fast, getting into the thick of the fight, and hey, you get out of here, we're not talking about you. They're all focused around rolling more dice than a Limp Bizkit song, as well as...
Those are Monster Hunter images representing the different classes, or, you know, weapon styles.
Being straight up easy baby mode, because you get...
Everything, literally everything. Bullying the DM. Hitting shit. Also everything. SNS, boyo. By the way, people say that the fighter is the best starting class for a character playing D&D. I strongly disagree. The amount of time that I've been playing with someone who's decided to play fighter and they cannot remember any of their starting skills because they're like somewhat technical. It's just that, you know, it's a problem where everyone just goes like, but you have a sword and you hit people with the sword. That's all that it is. It's it's like you have a number of skills which you need to remember, and everyone who is not experienced forgets those skills. Which means that ultimately you're not playing the way you should be playing. On the other hand, in my opinion, the best character to start as is a rogue. Because, yes, there are certain archetypes with a rogue where, you know, it's like, oh, I'm going to be the sneaky little man. But there are so many different variations of rogue. And due to the expertise feat, where, yes, you can do what everyone else does, where, you know, you give yourself proficiency in sneaking and sleight of hand, or sneaking and acrobatics. But you could also make it so that you have your expertise in other skills. Expertise means you double your proficiency with a skill, which means you're very good at certain abilities. Which, you know, you can also pick animal handling. You can also pick other things. Sneak attack is a misleading name because all you really need to, well, depending on how your DM is playing, your DM could basically be saying, like, even though you did technically perform a sneak attack, you did not fulfill the requirements written for sneak attack. Because really you need like an ally nearby, or you need to be basically flanking somebody to just perform a sneak attack. But basically you can, other than, you know, having a restriction on what weapons you can equip, it allows you to play the way you sort of want to. Like, I don't know, I just really like rogue. I don't like edgelord rogue.
Get to start using any weapon you want, heavy armor, some ranged options, a free cheesecake, and a complimentary belly rub just for picking the class. Seriously, everything about it is geared towards being so noob-friendly, even a Monster Hunter longsword player will be laughing at you. If you feel so inclined during combat, you can heal yourself, attack twice, and take a second action to attack twice again, all in the same turn. And that's at 5th level. Not to mention you getting more ability score increases than any other class means that if you go a turn without hitting at least something, then you must have made some kind of D&D sin that angered Gary.
First attack with advantage. Second attack with advantage. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Gygax, like getting weighted dice.
Gary Gygax is the creator of D&D. Yeah. The way I roll for character stats is I roll 4 dice, and I remove the lowest number. You do not re-roll ones. If you roll a 1, you keep it. That technically means that you can roll a character which has, like high. You can roll a character with a 3 in one stat, but I've rolled pretty good in general. The first character I ever rolled for D&D had 4 18s in it. I was just, and as you can see, to get an 18, you need to roll 3 6s. Having said, oh yeah, and because I wanted to help my teammates, I made it so that my character was good at as much possible things as he could be, which backfired horribly, as you can imagine, because the rest of my teammates were new to D&D, so they thought that I made an overpowered character build. I had 1 level in Rogue, and then the rest of my levels were in Paladin. So the answer is, whenever I got a sneak attack, I could, I rolled, or whenever I got a sneak attack, I could then perform what would be called a smite, which is I take my magic slots and then turn them into ammunition to blow up an enemy. Which means that I would evaporate the early level enemies, because paladins and rogues are very strong early in the game. And because paladins also have healing abilities, that means I could also heal and remove illnesses. And on top of that, when you have 4 18s inside of a... And on top of that, my lowest score, I think, was, as I said, and I'm not talking about after adding the scores that the race gives you. I literally rolled 4 18s to the base stats. So I think I had 20 dexterity. No, I had 20 charisma. And then I had, basically all my stats were above 10. Which basically means that everything I did was just ridiculous, and I didn't really have a weakness. And, I took on my entire party because they got angry at me, and we had a Coliseum system, so they decided to all gang up on me, and I just wrecked them. And after that, they were like, "You can never pick that character again, play that character again." Which, if we continued playing, that character would have sucked, because, well, the thing about going ultra wide in D&D, especially when you're multi-classing 2 classes that are supposed to be mostly offensive classes, means that I nerfed myself pretty heavily. On top of that, I was a half-elf, so I had tons and tons of skill proficiencies. And then I forgot which background I picked. I picked a background that would also give me a lot of skills. So I was a skill monkey who had expertise in things due to my 1 level of rogue, and just, I got the DM to let me produce what I call holy oil, where I would bless regular oil so that if we came across an undead, it would do radiant damage in addition to fire damage, and just, I would have been strong at the start because, as I said, I was a paladin rogue cross, and I was a dex paladin. So the weapons I used were like a rapier and other stuff, and usually the downside of paladins is their dexterity, but the fact that my dexterity was really, really high, and even then my strength was still high enough to meet the minimum requirements to be a paladin, means that my character was really good. But yeah, my teammates hated that character because of having too much skills and just me rolling really well. Of course, I was rolling really well. The enemies were of a lower level than we should have been, and then I had stupidly high stats. But yeah.
Or putting milk in before your cereal. Fighter flavors allow you to pick how you want to be hitting the bad guys, like being a magic bitch that can actually take a hit, or ride a bitch while you cut down a fool, or go all out sensei mode and just decide you want advantage for every attack this turn, so you're going to absolutely destroy a bitch. But odds are, knowing most fighters out there, champion is the best bet because it's basic. Yo, we heard you like fighter, so we put more fighter in your fighter. Just be sure to make your character a rough and grizzle-faced middle-aged straight white man with a two-handed sword and a mysterious and/or tragic and/or vengeful backstory just to fit the bill. Don't want to get too creative now, do we? And now you know how to play fighter, you're welcome. Hammer, bow, sword, and shield.
Yeah.
There's
Hello, Anne. How are you?
Can wield. Plenty fights you have fought. Demon Lord's just another thought. This class, great for a first time. Plenty of damage to chime. Here comes the fighter man.
We're talking about Jocat and some D&D stuff. Like I was just telling person about my first D&D character that I played as. Technically, the first character I ever made was in middle school, but we never got to play because my mother was like, D&D is going to make you kill people because of the satanic panic. Do both of you know about the satanic panic in America? It's a stupid thing which sort of goes on now. Basically, a long time ago, there was a person who basically ended their own life. Now, they played D&D, and the family said that they ended their life because of their character in D&D dying. And the whole Christian community got up in arms and banned, said that they needed to ban anything that's satanic or had demons or stuff like that, and made a big deal out of it. Now, of course, later on, it turns out that this person did not actually kill themselves due to the fact that their D&D character dies. It turns out that they were gay, and that their heavily Christian family forbid them and did everything they could to make sure that they could never see the man that they were in love with. And out of all the frustration and all the things that their family were doing to them to sort of make them feel horrible and tell them that they were a sin against God, that they couldn't handle the stress and ended it. And of course, when people found out that what the actual cause was, the Christians were like, well, it's a good thing you came forward anyways because we could never be too sure. You were doing the work of God. And it took a long time for people to finally accept putting demons and, not Christian worshipping stuff into, or dark things or Christian critical things into fantasy and media because of how crazy the satanic panic was. And that's one of the reasons why people are so critical of it now, especially with all the other stuff, because now they're just like, fuck you guys, we've had to spend so many years censoring this stuff. And it's sort of hard to believe now because of how open things are, but in the past it's just seriously, that's, I guess, an early form of cancel culture. Really disgusting. But yeah. Either way. In D&D, I tend to roll very well for characters, but the problem is the games I play never go very far. My DM usually gives up on me because of the fact that when you roll a character with stupidly good stats and then you think as much about what your character is, like I am somebody who tries to one make a character who I try to make the character do as well as I can with the character, like with their abilities, and so that they synergize. But I also try to make a story for the character where it makes sense for the character to be like that. If certain abilities really work well together, but I can't think of a story or, logical reason as to why they would have those skills, I won't do it. However, it's hard to do an encounter when you have a person who has a passive perception of 20 and has a passive perception of 25 because I have the observant feat, which means that nobody can really get past me. And that means that no one can really hide from that character either. Or, when when he has to balance a game for my characters, and then, just stuff like that. I've only ever had one character die, and that's because a friend made me scared of a certain encounter because he made it overly dangerous, and I sacrificed that character to save the rest of the party for an encounter that didn't need it. I made people sad because they liked that character. For me, it's just like characters die, but He was called Nigel of Thornbury. Yeah, yes. He had a frizzy orange beard and like spiky orange hair. He was a halfling too. One level rogue, and he was a halfling cavalier. So he had a little mastiff mount. His dog mount was called Courage. He went everywhere. He would say, "I go onwards with courage." And then, of course, he was ultra silly and ultra funny. And he would do things to, sort of lighten the mood. Like, one time, they were in a camp, and this group of people were trying to recognize him. So, recognize the group because they did something previously to this organization while we were hiding and pretending to be a part of it. So, I had my character get onto Courage backwards, have Courage ride through the area, and say, "You do not know me!" As Courage just went forward and just went to, where the food was and started licking the barrels which had the food inside of them. It's like, no, we definitely don't know this person. I think we would have remembered this little weird halfling. And, of course, if you're a cavalier, your whole job is to protect the party. So, of course, I did everything I could to do stuff like that. And then, of course, we came across an enemy, just said my friend scared the shit out of me from it because he made the encounter too strong when we did it. But I was doing it with another DM, and we got a necklace of fireball while we were in an area that was full of spiderwebs, so everyone got stuck. So I basically told people to take care of Courage, which they did, and then I basically threw the entire necklace down and nuked both my character and the enemy. And I did more damage than the maximum level spell a fireball would normally be able to use because of my stupidly good rolls. I rolled the max amount of orbs of fireball on it, and then I rolled near max, and not all max, but close to the max that I could get. And so, yeah, my character was very, very dead. But either way. Oh, yeah. No. But that's the only time one of my characters ever died. And of course, I was doing everything according to what is it? It was an official D&D. It was Adventures League, so I had to use standard array. It's not like I had, the stupidly high stats that I tend to roll on my own. Some people think that I follow the guideline of, oh, hey, like, there are people who go, you roll 3 dice, but if you roll a 1, you re-roll all ones. It's like, that's stupid. Or that's silly. Or no, they'll go like, oh, you rolled the same thing, but you all get to re-roll at 1 anytime you get a 1 because, we don't want your stats to be too low. That makes your character too strong. I mean, arguably, my characters have been too strong. On average, a lot of my characters seem to have at least 2 18s. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I've rolled characters that don't have any 18s in their stats either. But oftentimes those games tend to fall through. So when people play with me, they seem to get into games which have, the 18s. As I said, I have not replicated the character, like I said, with the first time I played, where I rolled 4 18s for a single character. But that's... If I did something like that again, I don't know if I would keep that stat array. It's fun to play as the overpowered character, but at the same time, it's boring. And you can earn resentment from the rest of your party. I mean, there are certain classes which you need to roll really high in order to take full advantage of. Barbarian and Monk are 2 classes which, if you have a very high stat array, are really good. Like, I had a Barbarian character, which, as I said, I had 3 18s. I had 3 18s in that character. And because I picked a Mountain Dwarf, he had 20 strength and 20 constitution at level 1. And I'm sorry, but that's way too good. The fact that I also had the other 18 in dexterity means that at level 1, my barbarian dwarf had an armor class equal to plate mail, an unarmored defense, which is just so stupid. Oh my god. And because I made it the lowest, of course, intelligence was his dump stat. But no, it wasn't. I forgot what his dump stat was. But all of his stats were really good. His intelligence was a 13. So I figured out a puzzle that was giving the rest of the party a bunch of issues. I had as my background like an ink set. So I put it was an invisible wall maze. So I basically stuck my finger into the ink on the maze. I marked the walls with my thumb and asked DM, does the ink stay on or does it disappear? He said it stays on. So then I just, marked with the walls with the ink until I found the exit. At which point he said I found it pretty quickly. And then I went to the end and was waiting with the, the NPCs who had already solved it while the rest of the party was arguing and not really solving the puzzle. At which point I basically said, couldn't the rest of the party find the exit using the way I marked it? At which point, they looked at it, saw the method I used, and then followed it, and we went past. Which, that's always fun, though it got annoying because my DM got angry at my character, and then my DM did everything he could to sort of screw me over at that point. Like, we were given a certain amount of gold to start off with, and it was a lot more than normal. But because my character's armor class was so great, I sold a bunch of stuff I didn't need, and I managed to just exactly be able to buy, like, or wait, did I buy an? I'm sorry, I don't. No, I couldn't buy an adamantine weapon for the first time. I could buy it after the first campaign, or no, after the first session. I was able to buy one because of the prizes we got. But the DM basically made it so that I immediately fell into a trap, no saves. I tried to solve it. I tried to use different skills to figure my way outside of the trap while I was literally in timeout. I didn't get to fight in a single encounter with my barbarian. And then, of course, the DM was like, oh, yeah, you solved this. And of course, I did everything to try to get out. I used wisdom. I tried to, perception. I used investigation. I did all this other stuff. As I said, my character stats were pretty good. I mean, I didn't have a lot of proficiencies. I was a dwarven barbarian, for God's sakes. I didn't have a lot of proficiencies. However, it turns out that the entire cave and all the walls and everything was made entirely out of adamantium. So, of course, I can't really fight my way out of that. And then, of course, when the party finds me, it's like, oh, that you could have just opened the door. And I was like, fuck you, man. I did everything I could think of to get out of that situation. And then you tried to do oops, you didn't do this. Like, yes, I specifically did do that. It was so annoying. But, yeah. I didn't get to play that character very much. It's sort of, I would have loved to have done that. I was originally going to make him a berserker, but then I realized it would have been much better to make him into a totem barbarian. Or, wait, which was it totem barbarian or... I don't know. Yeah, I guess a totem barbarian. Because that allows me to do so much more and then do things like, oh, hey, while raging, I'm resistant to basically every kind of damage except for force damage and maybe psychic. Oh my, what's this? Cheap views? I don't think so. But yeah, it was, I don't know, the problem is when you roll really good characters and you sort of try to think things through. I don't know. I like thinking things through. Like there's a race in D&D which some people consider to be overpowered. It is called the Yuan-Ti Pureblood. It has magic resistance and it has poison immunity, which, people are like, oh my god, you're immune to poison. Oh god, how are we supposed to deal with poison immunity? Oh god. And it's just like, I know this is going to shock you, but you use damage outside of poison. So, an assassin's arrow won't do damage to it. If with the poison aspect, you're still getting hit by an arrow. And if it's a rogue or deals sneak attack damage, I'm still going to take damage from that. If you hit me with a rock, or if you hit me with acid damage, and also the other people are like, it comes with innate magic casting abilities, which, yes, the Yuan-Ti Pureblood does come with innate magic. And some of the magic it can use indefinitely. However, the magic it can use indefinitely is situational. It can cast Speak with Animals for free if you're talking to snakes. Which most campaigns, with the exception of the ones that are in the area with the Tomb of Annihilation, don't involve a lot of snakes. Which means that skill is kind of pointless. And it's another innate ability it can cast is a acid spell, which does very little damage. And even then, its magic resistance, while good, is it's not game breaking. Well, yeah, and I mean, also its the stats it powered up were kind of weird. It gave bonuses to intelligence and wisdom, if I remember correctly, which in the game there are very few classes that use both stats. They usually either use one or the other. And I mean, it's, just sometimes people make a bigger deal out of an ability because they just don't think of the extremely obvious choices of what to do to get around it. Like, the Aerococra in its original form was considered to be really dumb. Because it's like, you get 50 feet of flight speed, which, oh my god. Yes, that is scary, having 50 foot of flight speed. However, the problem with that is that you're alone. If you get that far ahead of your party, you can't do it. And also, what people don't understand is having a flight speed does not mean you have a hover speed. For players, if you fly 50 feet and you do not land, if I remember correctly from the rules, that means that you drop out of the sky or you begin to fall. So you basically have to fly 50 feet to something, land, or grab onto something to make sure that you don't fall. And then on top of that, it had like a pitifully small walk speed. Plus, in order to fly, you need to have a certain amount of clearance to go there. Plus, if you're in the air, it's easy for everyone to see where you are. Or if you're a DM, you could just basically say, there's a griffin in the area, or a harpy, or like, just a flying predator. And you need to stick with the party. So yes, an Aerococra, a original Aerococra monk, where you gain... I'm not going to lie, Aerococra, the one they made, perfectly suits the monk class, where you can basically make a ridiculous movement speed. But it's still limited, and you have to roll really, really well to make it work the best, because otherwise you come across... Don't get me wrong, if you roll like I did on some of my characters, like if you do the stupid, I rolled like 4 18s, then yes, that is the most terrifying Aerococra ever. Which, having a high AC and then having a high, like, movement speed is just crazy. But even then, there are plenty of other classes that do scarier things. Like, having a barbarian druid multi-class is terrifying. Because barbarians can rage, and when they rage, they take less damage. Now, while you're raging, you cannot use magic. But the druid's wild shape is not magic. And also the paladin's smiting ability is also not magic. So if you want to do max deeps, as they say, being a paladin barbarian where every time you crit, you can expend spell slots to nuke someone. Or, if you're a barbarian druid, you wild shape and like, I am now a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I am a raging Tyrannosaurus Rex now. So I do additional damage, and I take half damage from attacks. And then it's like, what's that? You've dealt enough damage to turn me back to a human? Well, I just wild shape again. Because wild shape, when you leave wild shape when you've been dealt enough damage to have killed the animal you wild shaped into. And damage that goes beyond that just goes away. So you could take like 1,000 damage in a wild shape, and then you don't take a single one of that damage when you turn back into a human. And then on your next turn, I turn into that same creature again. It's just insane. But anyway, we're supposed to be talking about Jocat, not me and D&D.
Why? Because, bitch, you were taking too long. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. Fighting is like a science and can be used for either side of the moral spectrum. It can be used for evil, like punctuating arguments, expressing a salty loss, and beating up nerds, or it can be used for good, like self-defense, artistic expression, and beating up nerds. And monks are those who have trained heavily in the nerd beating up science.
Fast as fuckboy. Oh, wait, let's see. No. I swear I know how to YouTube. Karate Kwang Fu. Eats rocks for balance. Liu Kang Simulator. Kalima.
It's a mixed martial art.
And it's Euthra Zixty, level 8 Dragonborn.
Foregoing any sort of traditional filthy weapon proficiencies and instead opting for wanting to punch, bam, boom, slam, kick, punch stuff. You start with no armor because, like a barbarian, you have the ability to deflect and dodge attacks.
Oh man, should I hit her? Should I not? She's naked and I am uncomfortable.
With the power of your unconstrained birthday suit. But unlike Barbarian, you don't have to rely on the pathetic material world to explodify goblins. You have your knuckles. Martial arts training means you can serve up extra punchables for the bad guys as a bonus action. So no matter how you're doing, as Mama said, you'll be dishing out more pain-induced fistings than two lesbians who consider watching porn as a reasonable substitute for sex ed. But it's not all coochie destruction.
I don't know how to transition smoothly, so here's a Dodogama.
The monk is a slippery piece of work who's really good at avoiding any oncoming fistings, like a millennial trying to get their life together avoids self-care by catching them if they're a fist projectile or dodging out of the way if it's an area of fists. As you grow stronger, you can translate a fist if it's punching in a different language and avoid any infections if the fist
looks like you were punched by a weight
or forgot to take a shower that night.
And contracted troll warts. That'll be 3,000 gold pieces.
That night. As a monk, your shtick is the key feature, but since I can't come up with any way to make this section much funnier, and also because key translates to poop in Thai, that's how I'm going to refer to it from now on.
The original Mario Brothers movie. God, it was so horrible.
You gain more and more poop as you level up, and you can spend your poopy points on various skills to do all sorts of things, like
Wait, what is it? I wish for my group to finally meet on time this week.
Things like stun people, reroll saves, mask yourself and turn invisible, and any other number of crazy things based on which anime you want to imitate.
Drunken Master, 4 elements, Shadow, Sun, Soul, and Long Death. Of course there's a lot more now, but you know, this was made 5 years ago. Oh god.
I would recommend Kensei so you could use the dual-wield chainsaw shotgun laser earrings if it weren't for the fact that every other archetype was just
every other one's just so much better.
Cooler in every way, wearing fancy outfits and taking the time to actually learn how to fist properly. Oh man, what a tough decision. Do I want to use a pokey stick or do I want to fire Hadoukens and Kamehameha Blast? What an enticing decision. I'm really gonna have to think about.
Don't stop, we're in luck now.
And now you know how to play monk. You're welcome.
That is the original Dragon Ball Z opening. Or one of them.
Boy, I love the smell of justice in the morning. There's nothing more satisfying than knowing the good name of Sword and Shield has traveled so far and wide that not even the Pokemon games are free from their incredible, awesome influence. And it's about time, too. You think I created this series to entertain and inform ignorant whelps of great hobbies their miserable lives are missing out on? Fuck no, it was to enforce the mighty name of the one true weapon pairing that triumphs all others. And if anyone were to step out of line, I'd bring down the wrath of which tear-ass children tell their parents to scare them before bedtime, and then collect the aftermath of the pants they all shit because it makes for great fertilizer. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. Do you want to tank? Do you want to fight? Do you want a class that'll instill fright, take up some plate, and keep the goblins in sight? Because you want to make sure they eat this paladin smite! The paladin is the first on a short list of hybrid style.
Yeah. Terry Crews. Block, 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 block. A wall. Deus Ex. Voltina. Hurt and help, give enemies, and Existential crisis. Sasha Stoutbra, level 7 health. Paladins at the start, at low levels, are really, really strong, but they kind of don't lose their momentum in the later half of the game. Other classes, there are a lot of classes that at the start aren't great, but at the end, near the end of their, at higher levels, get amazing. Paladins are amazing early on, and then sort of slowly lose their steam.
Classes, stealing a mix of features from both the fighter and the cleric, meaning it's better at physically painting the walls with blood than a cleric, but more gooder at grammar and spelling than a fighter. But it's also one of the few classes where role-playing becomes somewhat important. What? Role-playing in my role-playing game? They really should have put some kind of warning label somewhere. I'm not submitting to this shit. If I wanted to follow some sort of code, I'd become a pirate so that I could at least plunder some booty while I'm at it. Otherwise, fuck you gods. If you want me to play your game of ethics, you can kiss my shiny plate mail. Alright, fine, just follow the code and don't do anything stupid that'll cause you to lose your paladin privileges, like a spoiled rich kid who's upset that he doesn't get a 4th Maserati to crash. Like the other all-up-in-your-grill-style physical
Literally everything. Talk nice, talk mean. Also everything. Javelins. So many javelins.
fighting classes, you gain proficiency with every goddamn combat-oriented item in the universe. And yes, that does technically mean that you can optimally play a paladin without a shield and not have to worry about being a less effective contribution to your party, but if you do that, I'm telling you now that you're wrong and I hate you and you're a big smelly doo-doo head. As a resident big fuck-off bringer of divine justice, your job is to harness the power of holiness or whatever other wacky power, depending on what oath you pick, to have everything else die while they bounce off of your full frontal crusade like a turd in the wind. That's true for just about every combat-focused class, but the paladin is especially good at it, what with having the aforementioned fighter-cleric combo skill set. You get multiple attacks, channel divinity, a free vaccination, casting abilities, more auras than that one silly anime that nobody likes, which means you'll be so jacked that your very presence will muscleify any nearby allies so that they look like a typical character from said silly anime that nobody likes. And lay on hands, a pool of health you can use to heal yourself or give a single hit point to your ally because that's all they deserve for not letting the rogue check the obviously booby-trapped room first. But we all know the real reason anyone picks paladin, and that's to never cast any actual spells, but instead use your spell slots to imbue your weapon with various flavors of smite! Because what good is striking down the heretics and heathens of the realm if it's not in the elemental attacking equivalent of your god sports team colors? You can smite with fire, laser pointers, brain freeze.
Okay. Now, he made this sound like the paladin is god-focused, but really, the point of a paladin is their oath. Paladins can be in service of certain gods, but what is important is the oath that they've sworn. If they break their oath, they lose their powers. But, you know, some people don't treat it as important when it is the most important thing. The reason why they have their powers is to basically, you know, because they've dedicated themselves to this oath with such fervor and intensity that it gives them powers. That's why going against it causes them to lose them, and usually you have to come up with a narrative reason for them to get them back for breaking them. Meanwhile, there's some people like, I'm gonna break my oath for funny reasons, man. It's like, that's, no. Chinese Electric Batman anime? What? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I need to check that. What? Chinese Electric Batman? What? Darker Than Black Gaiden? What? Darker Than Black Gaiden? Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Darker Than Black. I was like, wait a second. No, I love the. I think the description of Chinese Electric Batman anime sounds like it's the far better descriptor. Really appreciate that.
His
But
sick
yeah.
bassy drops and cheese for everyone. Sorry, I meant force.
Yeah.
Force is what it says.
I've
What
never
is
heard
this,
it.
Stargate? And now you know how to play. Wait a minute, what the hell is that noise?
Of course, they had to do the Deus Volts reference. Bum, bum, ba-da.
Just play a fighter with a bow, it's way better.
Da-da-da-da-da. Oh no, the Ranger slander.
Alright, fine, I'll talk about the class. Rangers, the other of the bicycle.
The good berries part of the balanced breakfast. What enemy, AC? Overwatch joke. Enjoys long walks on the beach, eating raw boar and living off the wilderness. Rogmesh Wildhorn, half-orc.
Sexual style of classes where it likes fighter, but it also likes druid and flips between the two depending on which one looks cuter at the moment. Hell, it even steals a few things from rogue because it's so indecisive. And despite the name ranger, you're not actually restricted to use any sort of ranged weapon in order to be effective. As far as combat goes, you get the usual.
A bunch of weapons you don't use. Happy shit. I don't know, climbing probably. Ammo, more ammo. A useless melee weapon.
Fighter, but not really fighter set of features. Fighting style, all weapons, extra attack, spell casting, D10, hit die, hey Macarena. From rogues, it steals
The Macarena is a song that was really, really popular in the US, and I don't know about the rest of the world, but it was played at a bunch of churches and a bunch of other things. And the thing is, it's entirely in Spanish, but if you translate it, the song is about a woman named Macarena who's like, if I remember correctly, it's like, my boyfriend's out of town. It's time for me to party with other men. And, you know, like implying infidelity and all that other stuff. And that's why it goes like, hey, Macarena. Because it's supposed to be the guys trying to hit her up. Yes, because they didn't know. And then I was told somebody about that. Like, oh my God, they played that in my church. Yes, indeed. Yeah. There's a number of songs where people don't realize how messed up the lyrics are. Like another song that was popular. This is a song that was worse in a way. It's called Pumped Up Kicks. It was very popular because it had a very catchy tune, but people didn't bother looking at the lyrics and what they were saying, because all they go like all the other kids and the na 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 da 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 da, and you didn't bother lyric. But if you actually look at the lyrics, it's like all the other kids with their pumped up kid, better run, outrun my bullet. It's a song literally about a shooting, specifically one that involves a school. Oh yeah. But people were just like, yeah, it's such a catchy, great song. Of course it would get copyright struck. I'm more going to probably get copyright struck from, you know, like this video, but from playing all of Jocat's content, but still. Yeah, just oh no.
the ability to channel your inner chameleon and blend into the environment. Except instead of hiding in the shadows and watching where you step, it's more like putting on makeup, so you need to take some time, have a good look in the mirror, maybe look up some tutorials while you're at it, then start over when you realize you were using the wrong shade of foundation. From Druid, it steals some of that being one with nature flavor it's got going on, and a whole lot of spells, but not without a few exclusive spells of its own, like having a target explode a bunch of thorns when hit with a ranged attack, plant arrows in the ground and turn them into proximity-based fireworks, except the gunpowder is magic and the lights are bits of enemy brains, and single-handedly the objectively best ranger spell, Swift Quiver. Not for the unlimited ammo, that's dumb, nobody keeps track of their arrows anyway, but because it turns your ranged weapon into a rapid-fire machine gun. But Joseph, you said you don't need to use a ranged weapon to be effective as a ranger. Those all sound like ranged weapon exclusive spells. That may be true, however. Anyway, when it comes to actual unique ranger features,
Stuff you can do. Blah, 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 blah.
can use the power of racism to decide what kind of creatures you're going to perform extra potent hate crimes on,
Yeah.
and preferred terrain, where you can pick your favorite environment, and after trotting around picking flowers or litter, depending on what it is, you can become a fan.
5th edition's Ranger is, or at least back when I played it, was very selective. You can pick an enemy, which you do additional damage to, you have advantage against, and you know a lot, have advantage when it comes to finding out about them. However, if your campaign is if you're fighting against an enemy that doesn't include that, you're kind of screwed. On the other hand, the other ability which he's referring to is you pick a favored terrain, which is terrain which you do really well in, and you have an advantage on checks and walking through, and get a bunch of benefits for. But if you're not fighting in that terrain, then you're kind of pointless. So if you're like, yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, basically you could say I pick demons to fight as my enemy, and then I choose to pick the hells or something like the abyssal plane, and then it's just like we're going to be facing goblins in the Underdark, or well, not in the Underdark, or like on the surface, and it's just like you get no benefits or bonuses. So it can be very difficult picking out stuff. They've tried doing stuff to change it, but from what I've heard, a lot of people still don't necessarily like. They started, when I stopped playing, they started doing things like allowing rangers to do additional damage types and potentially switch out the favorite enemy and the favorite terrain for other things. But yeah, sorry, I can't say if you can pick anything at all with mind control. Well, they do have they do have a psychic ranger, if I remember correctly, but I don't know if they learn mind control abilities or. The answer is with multi-classing, you can pretty much do anything you want within reason, but you can do a lot. Just in order for multi-classing to work, you have to have pretty good stats, or multi-class into something that really works with each other. Like fighter rogues are a good multi-class too, but yeah. Sorry.
Fantasy Bear Grylls, which is basically real-life Bear Grylls, except with a Kobold crew filming you instead. And if you worry that sounds too situational, and that if you picked a forest terrain and the entire campaign took place in the snowy mountains would mean the feature would be more useless than a football player who got tapped on the shoulder and started clutching their knees crying in the fetal position, don't worry, you're right, and it is. What isn't situational is just about everything else involving the environment. You can sense what kids are trespassing on your lawn and then not have to worry about the weeds that might otherwise slow you down from catching them and giving them a good weapon! When it comes to flavors of the no really trust us, you can totally use melee and still be a useful class. You have Pokemon trainer with a gun, like rogues but even dodgier, literally a monster hunter, thinking with portals, and pew 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 pew! Alright, let's address the beholder in the room. The vanilla incarnation of the ranger has a reputation of being less useful when compared to the other classes due to questionable abilities and how they function. That's not to say the class can't be useful or powerful in the right circumstances, but some consider the ranger situational and sometimes.
You are particularly, natural explorer. You are particularly familiar with one type of natural environment, and are adept at traveling and surviving in such regions. Choose one type of favorite terrain: Arctic, coast, desert, forest, grasslands, mountain, swamp, or the Underdark. When you make an intelligence or wisdom check related to your favorite terrain, your proficiency bonus is doubled if you are using a skill that you are proficient in. While traveling an hour or more in your favorite terrain, you gain the following benefits. Difficult terrain doesn't slow down your group. Your group can't be lost except by magical means. Even when you are engaged in another activity while traveling, such as foraging, navigating, or tracking, you remain alert to danger. If you are traveling alone, you can move stealthily at a normal pace. When you forage, you find twice as much food as you normally would. When tracking other creatures, you also learn their exact number, their size, and how long ago they passed through the area. You can choose an additional favorite terrain types at 6th and 10th level, which that's if you are in your favorite terrain, the ranger is amazing. If you are not, then your abilities they're situational. Rangers in their default vanilla are situational, and in the situations where they're good, they're really good. But when they're not, they're kind of like a sucky fighter, sucky rogue. But the more recent ones have been trying to do it, though I've been to improve it. I haven't looked at recently. They've added a bunch of stuff, and my friends sort of complained about it, but I haven't had time to fully look into the modern subclasses and or things that they're doing. I've heard that Wizards of the Coast have been kind of dropping the ball lately.
Times underpowered features to leave.
Foe Slayer. At 20th level, you become an unparalleled hunter of your enemies. Once on each of your turns, you can add your Wisdom modifier to the attack roll or damage roll of an attack. You make one of your attack roll against one of your favorite enemies. You choose to use this feature before or after the roll, but before any effects of the roll are applied. You add your Wisdom modifier, max 5 without special magical items, to your damage against a favored enemy, and not any enemy, only favored. And that's at 20th level. The ultimate skill of the Ranger, because in 5th edition, 20th level is the maximum level. Yeah. Well, yeah, but good luck finding a DM that would let you do that. Basically, you're at the whim of your DM as to whether or not they let you play in the terrain and against enemies that allow you to do really well.
Leave something to be desired.
Yeah.
However, there's nothing wrong about talking
Hey, can commanding an animal companion take a bonus action instead of a full
to your
one?
DM about changing how certain skills work, if that happens to be
No.
the case, so that you can have more fun at your role-playing table. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's not about how many numbers you can do to the bad guys, but whether or not you can
69.
Spikes out of the ground while firing bolts from your heavy crossbow atop a feathered velociraptor.
And now you know how to play Ranger. You're welcome.
Yeah. Bum bum bottom.
Ever since I was a child, I had to grow up on the streets, wrestling alley bears for food and fighting guards for my own
I
freedom.
don't like playing
It was
edgy
in those
road.
streets that I knew I couldn't trust anyone but myself. The only thing
Why do I
for
have to-
sure was that I had to find the monsters who put me there, to exact my revenge, and finally put my restless hunger for blood at ease.
So is that why you're standing in the corner of a tavern conspicuous?
That's Puffin Forest. Puffin Forest is another funny, like D&D thing. D guy.
That's something deeply mysterious and intriguing for you to find out. But I doubt you'd understand all the pain and suffering I've had to endure to...
All right then, I'll see you later.
Wait, no, you were supposed to be deeply interested and ask me more about my backstory. You know what? I'm tired of being another cog in the machine of an adventuring party. I'm going off on my own, following my own creed and doing what needs to be done. That's right, I'm going rogue. Do you get it? Rogues are the sneaky, stabby, skilly, willy utility.
Must wear black, one stab man. Please stop moving. Weird obsession with feathers. Does drink because they canonically do cheap shots. Really? Amalric, Wretchfoot. Level 9 gnome.
Utility monkeys of the Forgotten Realms, and the best pick if you're a backseat gamer since it lets you interrupt someone trying their best because they weren't doing it right. However, if you want to Mary Sue it up even more than you already are, you also get expertise so that you can upgrade those proficiencies to anime protagonist levels of ridiculous. Now I know what you're thinking, this sounds a lot like Bard, and while that's partly true, the difference is rogues aren't automatically assumed to be the comic relief.
Instead, they're deep, dark, and brooding, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, holidays
Excluded because who could be grumpy on Christmas? The other main difference is their unique combat feature, the sneak attack, and because the name's in D&D.
Oh my god, Jocat. Christmas is shown to be one of the most depressing times of the year. How can you not do that? We need to cancel Jocat again. Like, meh. Like, yeah, no, just... Yeah. Yeah, just, no, don't. This man doesn't deserve any harsh things.
D are always inaccurate. You don't actually have to be low to the ground and covered in shit to deal the sneak attack bonus damage, but rather anytime the enemy's just not feeling up to it today and just wants to get it over with. This means if the enemy's being flanked, or if they're laying prone on the ground, or they just bragged about how high their IQ is, you know, things that would make them really easy to stab. You are, incidentally, not very easy to stab since you have a whopping 4 goddamn features dedicated to make you more difficult to pin down than figuring out if that teasing banter you had with your friend actually hurt their feelings or not. You can dodge when it's your turn, dodge when it's not your turn, dodge a giant ball of fire, and even dodge having to pay the bill on a first date. One especially unique trait of the rogue is their exclusive language, Thieves Can't. Thieves Can't what? I don't have the slightest clue, because it allows you to say a whole bunch of jargon that somehow translates into a completely different sentence. Timmy's having tea with the local blacksmith actually means let's go to the temple and steal some of the cleric's donations. Speaking of stealing, the thief archetype means you're especially fast at doing thiefy things, like picking locks, chugging potions, and hardcore parkour. Assassin makes your stabs extra stabby, and you can stab while disguising yourself as a child you saw who you can point to later and say they did it. Arcane Trickster basically turns you into a bard, except less talented or attractive, and allows you to hocus pocus somebody's wallet from 3 miles away. Mastermind is straight up Sherlock Holmes, complete with the assholery and catchy theme music. Swashbuckler won't stop bugging people to 1v1 them. And Scout, which is yet another better alternative to Ranger. Your job is to make sure everybody knows how much better you are at doing everything. Because when the going gets tough, you know the party's going to turn to you one day and ask you to please pick the lock on the door to the king's castle because the bard accidentally kicked the guard in the genitals trying to seduce them. And you'll gladly show them all the skills you've learned from growing up in such a harsh and unforgiving environment that was once your home, forcing you to learn questionable means and morally ambivalent beliefs in order to survive. Just try
Oh
not
shit,
to
I realize I haven't asked you how you're doing. I'm just like, this whole time I've been talking to you, but I'm just like, not asking you how you're doing, or how your day is, or things like that. Sorry for being sort of an asshole like that. Or how are you doing? I don't know, I try to say, at least be, you know, ask how you're doing. I don't know, it's... Actually, how should I address you? Because according to the thing, it says in parentheses, your name is like Mule 22. I'm 4242. How should I address you when I want to speak to you? By the way, I cannot read those. Actually, I'll try translating that. 1 second. I'm going to open that in. Let's just check this. To English. Let's see. It says Murray. Murray? What? Murray? Okay, that does not help. I tried to translate that, and this is what I got. Where it's like Mayuri and then Muri. Like, how should I refer to you? Mayuri 4242. I don't know. Or do you just want to lurk until you feel like comfortable talking? I don't want to make you feel like I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot.
Put yourself on that edge while you're at it. And now you know how to play rogue. You're welcome. Magic is dumb and stupid and makes no sense, and my brain hurts the more I try to figure out how it works. Except when bards use it, because bards are cool and mages are lame with their colorful flowy robes and giant obnoxiously fashionable hats. No, I'm not jealous, shut up. At the very least though, most of them work hard for their magical abilities, some of them cultivating it through skill and experience, others answering to a higher power, some having a codependent relationship with the arcane, and some lucky enough to have their parents bang a mystical creature and receive a small genetic loan of 1,000,000 mana. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. Get your stupid hats ready, it's time for the casters, where your weapons suck, your armors suck, and your martial skills are closer to that of the average D&D player. Instead, you'll be relying on the mystical, magnificent mass of magics. Except in this case, not really relying on it, more like bullying it into doing what you want. Sorcerers are those who disrespect the rules of magic.
Guess Christmas gifts, no matter how good they are. Don't touch me, I'm sterile. Ha ha ha! Prepping spells. My dad asked Castendo. That's from an old American meme of, my dad works at Nintendo. Most common class to be a meme player. Citation needed. Chad Magical. Level 3 Doppelganger.
Magic and can easily manipulate it like it's some young adult who's desperate for food that isn't microwaved or takeout. Maybe that's why your hit die is the one used for Monopoly games. That's right, a pathetic D6, which likely means the DM won't have to do much to make you piss your pants in fear. The Cirque du Soleil's metamagic feature means you can enhance the spells you cast by paying off the essence of arcane with the inheritance money you got from your magical parents, and allows you to influence your spells to take on a variety of effects to your liking. Its effects include, but are not limited to,
I'm running out of ideas of what to draw to make things funny. So here's a small dog
to biased AoEs, angry AoEs, spells that gotta go fast, say, nah, I totally got you, I hit your shirt, clothing counts, get an extended spell warranty, double penetration, or even cast with the sound of your armpit farts if you don't feel like talking that day. And you can do all that and more by using your sorcery points, which has got to be the two most absolutely nerdiest words you could ever put together in a single phrase. It's also a weirdly effective safe word because it allows your magical BDSM to stop so your spell slots
Fine, you can rest now, but we start again in 5 minutes. Oh my.
can catch their breath and recover. With archetypes, you have squishy clerics, zippy zappy, casty blasty, watch for the lightning, it gets nasty, darkness, 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 scaly and denial, and the only one that really matters, the Wheel of Wild Magic! Where you and whatever other lucky souls nearby get to experience the high-octane thrills of
Oh my. Person, have you heard of wild magic sorcery? In D&D. Ah, yes. Well, you're in for a treat.
randomness! Think your pathetic magic missile just won't cut it? Don't worry, with the right kind of luck, it could suddenly open up a one-way portal to the fire planes. Who knows what crazy, helpful, and/or
Okay. I'm sorry, just to show you ideas as to what the things are. Let's see. Possible wild magic effects. Turning inside out. Making a good live-action Disney explosive diarrhea. Endless bombardment of eggs. Eternal spooning. Losing your pinky finger. Graduating from clown school. Marrying the last flower you smelled. Getting lost in the sauce. Becoming Spider-Man. Exploding, then exploding again. Exploding is actually a wild magic effect. There's a fireball effect circled around you, and your party members and yourself all have to roll for damage for the fireball you unintentionally caused on yourself. But yeah, drowning in puppies, swimming through puppies, be adored like a puppy. Remember Fry's puppy? Bet you got sad now. I am too now. Shit. Beat Dark Souls. Bring your OCs to life. Nail a drawing on the first try. Fail to draw a drawing every try. Fail to even pick up a pen. Become a mascot of a fast food joint. Become a one-hit wonder. Growing fur on your teeth. Every inch of your skin breaks out. Secrete soap out of your pores. Bleed milk. Piss milk. Turn all liquid in the area into milk. Non-stop casting. Flaming nut shots. Getting your life together. Paying off that loan. Take 6 more loans. Take out 6 more loans. Become a famous hobo. Eat butterfly wings. Gather all 4 limbs of the Forbidden One. Win a free tickets to Guam. Go on a cruise with Tom Cruise. Become one with the Force. Dabbing. Growing 3 extra fingers. But yeah.
crazy, helpful, and/or harmful effects could happen due
The
to
actual
your
table is
gambling
kind of
addiction.
crazy. There's some insane benefits, and then there's some which are just neutral, like, you are blue now! Or, just like some downright detrimental
Spin
stuff.
that wheel and see how
And what's worse is the DM decides.
wild we can
Well,
get.
the DM rolls.
I may have spun it a little bit too hard because of my stonkingly huge muscles, so we'll just let that go for a while. Now, the main difference between the 3 arcane casters is how they get their magic. While wizards take years studying for the ACT and warlocks keep having to pay interest to their demon lord shareholders, sorcerers' magic comes from the fact that they were born inherently talented instead of needing to do any actual work. That's why your casting ability is charisma, because we totally need more of those, and just because you can cast spells doesn't necessarily mean you're smart. But who cares what's smart when you can cast big spells with big effects so your big numbers can turn the big baddies into big piles of giblety experience points. Insert fireball joke. And now you know how to play sorcerer, you're welcome.
He turned into a wiggler, into a
Well,
bubble.
shit.
Hey
Hey you sitting there with your saggy butt cheeks and emotionless expression. I know what you're thinking. Boy, I wish I could cast spells, but all I got is an expendable firstborn child and a willingness to work under a questionably immoral arcane master till the end of time. Well, that's just the exact sort of motivation we like for our employees at EDB Incorporated. And if you sign up with us, we'll be sure you're treated in a way that you deserve for assisting in furthering our goals to bring about the ruin of the entire multiverse. All I need you to do is sign here and agree to give us
Alright, let's see. Contract of Eldritch Soul Binding. Butts. Yes, indeed, that is the most important part of this. Offer monthly baby hands. Eternal servitude. must be must be pantsless, sorry. Prays daily. Benefits: undeath, exposure, dental, outdoor time. 3 times overtime over 40 hours, 5 times over 50.
And here and agree to give us
servitude of your mortal soul.
But on the bright side, we have dental. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. So you want to use magic, but only as much as you want to hug that one family member you keep seeing at reunions, but aren't quite sure how you're related. Then you may want to be a warlock.
Play dress up. Say the line, Bart. Which is, blast. Smells nice. Cast it a day, throw it away. Swears a lot. Bismic Archbane. Flow 5 dwarf. Warlocks have very few spell slots, but their spell slots tend to be very high. And they get the most powerful cantrip in the game.
The fake gamers of the Forgotten Realms. How warlocks differ from the other casters is that the amount of times you can cast your spells before run. Warlocks differ
You're using charisma to cast. Bard, Paladin, Warlock, and... Wait. Yeah, that's one of the sorcerer. I don't know which one of these, which ones. I'm guessing that's sorcerer.
from the other casters is that the amount of times you can cast your spells before running out of spell slots is absolute shit. Instead of having a set number of spells for each level of spell slot, you get a maximum of 4 spell slots for all your spells up to 5th level, and that's it. And a few other ones, but nobody cares about those. The flip side is that the spells you cast are always at their max level, and instead of having to take a long rest to get those slots back, all you need is an hour to have a wank, have a biscuit, and you're back on your feet. But you know what? Fuck real spells. You may think you're a caster, but really picking this class is purely an excuse to do nothing but cast everyone's favorite cantrip, Eldritch. Cast it at weddings, funerals, beach parties, or you can just cast it randomly because the party's taking 5 hours to buy a single dagger from the shopkeeper and you're bored. Aside from casting nothing but Eldritch all day, the main draw of the Warlock...
Bitch honor, scumbag skills, sugar daddy. Mom said it's my turn to use wimpy weapons. Talkin' fucking sword. That's for the Eldritch Knight, if I remember correctly.
Is the fact that it's the greatest game...
Eldritch Knight, or... No, I mixed up.
...of dress-up dolls of all time. Eldritch invocations allow you to custom tailor your Warlock so that it suits you.
The Warlock is another interesting class to pick because of how sort of you can customize them and all the different ways you can build them. You can build them to be really, really strong or ultra specialized in a certain thing. Like you can make a Warlock that's able to see through magical darkness, which then means that you can just go, I cast darkness. You can't see. Oh, I have Devil's Sight, so I can, in fact, see inside of regular darkness. And the weird part is that due to the way it is worded, you can see inside magical darkness and regular darkness as if it was bright light, which means you can see color in darkness, which normally with dark vision, that does not allow you to see color, if I remember correctly, unless somebody changed the ruling. But yeah. So that can be really broken.
Better than my form-fit, Kieran assless chaps. You can talk to animals without needing to cast a spell, go straight up invisible whenever you want, but most importantly, there are invocations that allow you to customize your Eldritch so that whenever you shoot your gobbledygook at whatever poor sap that looked at you funny, you can pull them forward and do your best Scorpion impression, snipe them from 2 blocks away, or make the beam of arcane destruction smell like strawberries if you like. But it's not all fun in Eldritch because remember, you've signed a pact with a patron, so your power is being loaned to you from an all-powerful arcane sugar daddy. So you will have to pay interest if you want to make sure all that magic stays nicely tucked into your Eldritch sack. Luckily, they're not like bank loans because you can actually pay them off and they're not always inherently evil. You have the choice of being bossed around by a literal devil who decided to make you their favorite person so they're gonna be your mommy for a little bit, a skeleton who ironically refuses to let you die because you still owe him 2 platinum, fairies who are just straight up assholes, gods so you're basically a cleric now, literally Cthulhu, but forget all those because the only real option is to have your patron be a magically possessed sentient sword and shield that yells
the
fuck when you
Hexblade,
swing
yeah,
it.
sorry,
Basically you have such a
Hexblade.
huge amount of options to choose from with how you build your
Eldritch Knight is a fighter subclass. Sorry about that.
Warlock. It's very unlikely any 2 Warlocks will be the same. So get your shopping baskets, light some candles, have fun customizing. Oh, and remember you have to sacrifice 3 more babies by the end of the week or you're fired! And now you know how to play Warlock. You're...
impressive, you know? I mean, I've never had a student score 0 in everything before.
What do you mean? I chose exactly the perfect spell for every situation.
Well, you answered Fireball for every question.
What's your point, person within fireball distance?
What I mean is you can't expect a big damaging area of effect spell to be the answer for everything. Maybe try some different spells, maybe minor illusion to trick the enemy. You can find a fae or a fiend to serve as your familiar, or even prestidigitation. It has a surprising amount of pieces.
Zibashu is what this guy's name is. He is a part of the old guard. Yeah, 1 second. Just going to go. Just in case I do another. Is it? Yeah, Bashu. There it is. He is another interesting person. He comes up with so many creative ideas of things to do in D&D. I recommend watching it. But this is a Jocat episode, so I'll focus on Jocat.
Even though it costs nothing.
I'm about to prestidigitate all over your desk if you keep suggesting lame-o spells.
What I'm saying is you should expand your horizons. A wizard is the apex of the arcane, the ultimate utility caster, and one of these days you're gonna find yourself in an encounter where Fireball isn't gonna... Where'd you go? What the fuck?
Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. The classic, the OG, the frail old man with a stick that shoots magic missiles at a few goblins and then has to go door to door telling his neighbors he's a registered hex offender. The wizard is the most powerful class if you ignore any other class.
Let me just, I did not read what he said.
His neighbors, he's a registered hex offender.
I did not know your kid was dressed like a goblin. Oh no. Oh no.
The wizard is the most powerful.
Frail as fuck. Catch these burning hands. Batman's belt as a class. Swiddly swooty, your spine is now a noodle. Not a gas cannon, just glass. Hutrax the nerdy, dragonborn.
Powerful class if you ignore any other classes that are stronger, which are all of them, because this thing is more fragile than a single layered sheet of toilet paper that's been soaking in the soggy crack of a bridge troll's ass cheeks. This class is the sorcerer's lame
Virgin can't cast meta magic, needs books, dumb tail for balance, virgin wizard, Chad sorcerer, strong magic hands, non-lame subclasses, massive meta magic
or more studious dorky neighbor who does all the hard work for none of
study and practice. No initial magic powers, reads a lot of books, uses magic items to enhance combat abilities instead of any enhancements to magic powers themselves. Sorcerer. Yeah.
the recognition. You get saving throws and intelligence and wisdom instead of constitution and charisma, so sure, you'll be able to ace that pop quiz and not have to worry about being distracted, but you won't be able to hold your liquor or score any hot dates at Chad Firebolt's party in the Golden Mansion his chromatic dragon dad bought him. If you're looking for the silver lining, the wizard is definitely the heaviest case of be careful who you call ugly in magic school. The wizard's spell list is thicker than the Storm King's thunder thighs. You gain spell slots like a shower drain gets hair, and during a short rest you can even choose a small amount of spell slots to recover depending on your level. Best of all, at higher levels you even get the ability to cast your favorite low-level spells as many times as you like. But who are we kidding? You're likely going to be dead before you reach that high, either killed by your own fireballs or killed by all your pissed off allies who were caught in your own fireballs. But hold your horses there, Mr.
Hakuna Yotatas. Rogues do that. I bet it's just as much fun as if that happened in my games.
I actually believe wizard memes are as funny in the game as they are on social media. All your spells are tied to your spellbook because wizards have short-term memory loss.
The thing that popped up at the end was just them saying, like, thank you, I really appreciate people who come by and take their time to see all the little things I hide in, like, little animations. Wait, I forgot how to cast Mage Hand again.
And unless it's a cantrip, you can only cast a spell if you
How to Ice Knife. Refrigerate knife for 24 to 48 hours. Attach dynamite. Throw at bad guy.
have a 3-step tutorial with pictures to color. But the work doesn't just stop there.
But wait, there's more.
The stronger spells at higher levels are going to need expensive magical components to
Sulfur
cast them
and
if you don't want to
batches.
embarrass yourself with arcanal dysfunction and suddenly your finger of death feels more like a finger of mild discomfort. People say wizards are the utility casters because of the massive amount of spells at their disposal.
Also, a lot of wizard spell material components are joke items.
Many of which are
Like,
apparently great for a wide range.
If I remember correctly, for a fireball, you're basically using... Batshit is usually is one of the things that was used to make gunpowder. So they're basically just like they're using the materials for a bomb. and also the other components also are things that were used to help make gunpowder or early gunpowder.
Situations. I'm here to smartly inform you that those people are stupid. Use fireball and only fireball. Nothing but fireball. Just fireball. Just fireball. Just fireball. Because they are the nerds of D&D.
So what's your favorite transmutation spell?
Indeed, wizards have an unhealthy amount of...
Oh, there's this one I used recently called Polymorph, and it basically turns someone into whatever creature you want to do. Polymorph is fun. Ah, the big bad evil guy is approaching you. I am just I am an immortal god. Polymorph. I turn you into a rat. I grab you, and then I open a portal to a plane and throw you into that plane. Meh. Then the DM cries because all those hours of planning went to shit. Until the DM is like, no, polymorph doesn't work. I won't let you do this again.
of knowledge of all of the different schools of magic. So instead of...
Yeah. Wait. Drew it into a big T-Rex, and she was huge and started stomping all over the village and killed all the goblins.
Different schools
But
of
then we were also curious about some thieves we overheard, so I polyed the cleric into a mouse to sneak into their hideout, and they were so cute.
magic. So instead of
Yeah.
having their archetypes based around a certain theme, they get one for each of the aforementioned schools of magic, which is too damn many to go over, and frankly, I don't have the time or gummy bears to last a whole lecture. Instead, I'm going to quickly summarize each school of magic, and also war magic, because fuck you, and I'm gonna do it all in song! Evocation elements to burn or shock or freeze your friends. Necromancy spares the dying, or you could just resurrect them. Abjuration keeps you safe and almost makes your armor fair. Divination helps you sense, detect, commune, and talk to bears. Conjuration, portals and make stuff for free. Transmutation, turn things into other things. With enchantment, buff the buff or in between. And delusion, visual tricks to prank the brain with fear and silence. Blur and go invisible, pretend you're someone else's dad. Disguise mislead, take on their life.
What have I done?
Magic is like tank mage, getting lots of defense, flexing as you cats. And now you know how to play wizard, you're welcome.
Oh. The full theme. Oh, well, actually, I don't want to get this copyright struck. I probably am going to, but I'm going to skip ahead because we don't have as much time left. You should listen to it. It is nice, but you know.
A wise man once
Sorry.
said magic is dumb and stupid and makes no sense, and I trust that man. He wields a sword and a shield, so why use magic when you can use big brain energy and the power of science? And I know how much nerds love science, so much that they won't shut up about it and one day start making weird advances towards their Texas Instrument. Listen, we all have our urges, but seriously, get a server room. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. It's about damn time we got another intelligence caster. The stat is about as commonly used for spellcasting as your bedroom is used for sexy times. The artificer is an inventor who decided traditional magical means.
Nix all the loot. Smells bad because they never shower. What hit points? I have AC. Great at birthday parties. Sibs, the splashy, level 6 goblin.
By accomplished wizards and scholars are too mainstream and decided to come up with their own
Nerd
magic
wizard.
spells and items after reading.
Instead of me using homegrown essential, instead use me homegrown essential oils.
Items after reading 2 articles by
Did you know that using casting components can turn you into a mind flayer? Local mom says fuck evidence.
angry moms from Baldur's Gate who discovered casting real
Magical fascism can't exist in Forgotten Realms. Wake up, sheeple. Components cause impotence. Hands off of my wand.
spells can actually give you genital flumps. Checkmate, sorcerers. Instead of that, you can tinker with items to imbue them with special properties, like turning it into a flashlight, turning it into a scented candle, or turning it into a phone that can only record and play vines. The best part is that once you give the item the properties, it lasts forever, so go have fun enjoying your 7 seconds of fame
Can't
before
go
the service
wrong.
shuts down.
Server has been shut down. Thanks for the cash suckers.
down and you become a struggling vlogger. And speaking of messing with the natural properties of items, as you level up you gain infusions, which allow you to turn that sex toy you hide in the dresser from a basic vibrator to a vibrator. Infusions include, but are not limited to, boring stat increase, Thor's hammer, item dupe glitch, and go gadget blinka boots. This is all due to your massive IQ rating of 20 billion, which is so high you can add your intelligence modifier to any of you or your ally party members' dice rolls and become the ultimate backseat gamer telling them about the bad guys' weak spots, because there's no way their simple minds could have figured it out on their own. And if that doesn't work out, you can use one of the 50 magical items you've made yourself and refuse to part with, like someone on an episode of Hoarders, or pull a fast one and throw the magical vibrator that you secretly stored a charge of fireball in. Being the new class that it is, the Artificer only has 3 subclasses so far, and no, I'm not going to cover the new ones that come out. Stop asking, I just want to go on vacation with my sword and shield already. The Alchemist is like a drunk doctor and gains a few healing spells, can buff allies with the power of drinking and gambling, and can help you grow closer bonds with your pets. If you want a big fuck-off gun, the Artillerist can create an Eldritch cannon that can either fire 3 different kinds of artillery or just sit there contributing nothing while you marvel at your amazing craftsmanship, because keeping track of more than one thing on the board is hard, isn't that right, Dungeon Master? And lastly, the Battlesmith, where you decide to stop being a puss baby and join the fight with a mystery-solving robo-dog sidekick. Ranger. Overall, the Artificer loves making, finding, and using loads and loads of magical items, which means you'll probably forget about half of your inventions because players can't be trusted to even remember the items they started with at the beginning of the campaign. Just make sure to keep them under good security so the rogue doesn't steal them all while you long rest and suddenly you wake up to the sound of Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. Now you know how to play Artificer. You're welcome.
Races.
So, you picked your class, hold on to your ass, it's gonna get crass cause race is part of the role you can play. Some sentient clay, a he, she, or they, a beast who gets real snarly, a regular dude named Charlie. If homebrew is free, a big talking tree. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. Arakakra, big fucking bird. You got some wings so you can fly, and if non-weapon melee's preferred, they get sharp talons to bit scratch a guy. Or maybe you're more of an Aasimar, still avian if you lower the bar, angelic people with radiant energy, or darkness if you flap your wings edgily. Bugbears aren't actually bears at all, more like beastly orcs and just as tall, but oddly sneaky and your arms are long, so you're really freaking good at playing basketball. But if going full beast is a little too far, you could always do half and decide to be a centaur, charging the enemies so they can readily get steadily back up while you stomping them deadly. For Sneaky Bunch, Changeling's cool, you make a disguise, get a worthless tool, you can change your face to whatever race, there's nearly no limit who you can fool. Dragonborn, no, not the Skyrim kind, are likely the kid of a bard that'll find dragons really hot, so now you shoot acid, or whatever other color your parents preferred acid. The typical dwarf with a beautiful beard, you work with your hands and are physically sturdy. You seem informed about rocks, which is weird, try not to obsess or the sesh will get wordy. Elves are pompous pricks, a dozen flavors to match and mix, they live a long time, don't sleep instead trance, and are hard to be charmed, so bards keep it in your pants. Pick a fearbulk, a chill-ass cow, most of which have druidic vow, and don't ask how, but they can turn invisible, which is a big concern. Genasi, elemental genie bastards, one of 4 elements that they have mastered in some way, lets them do cool shit like waterbend or have a fire-breathing armpit. Githyanki and Githzerai, elves that look like they wanna die, all they're about is how they clash, been around 40 years and their lore's still trash. Short stack, gnome, happy short folk who are smart and wise and cunning and know how to crack into good camouflage, be it sneaking or magic or cool roguish montage. Whack is the goblin, small size hits hard on your noggin, their nimbleness makes it hard to keep pace, they'll hide and bide, quick slide and hit your face. Muscles are in, though I have bias, so the hottest IMO is Goliath. They're 8 feet tall, have steel for their balls, and can shrug off damage like one-man riots. Half-elves, the mutts and mules of D&D, extra points to spend on 2 abilities and skills out the asses of best of both races, and backstories usually come from stupid places. Half-orc, like I said, muscles are in, you're a ruthless brute who fights to win, your crits get crits and you can terrify, and if you feel like it, you can say no when you die. If your luck is nasty, the halfling's good, you re-roll ones and win like you should, and you're hard to scare, so go party with a dragon, and you can slip through if it's angry off the flag. And humans get a little bit of everything, they lack gimmicks or special flair or any zing, and are all around average, you know how it is, and
the regular human is terrible. It's like +1 to every stat. Oh boy. Yeah, you get more stat increases than any other race in the game. But getting +1 to everything is terrible. And their other effects are mediocre. Variant human is very strong because you get to pick a feat from the list, and you can pick some very, very strong stuff. That's why picking variant human is jokingly said to be the main kind of human.
perfect pick if you're boring.
Races, all the races. Races, all the races. There's plenty to choose from, too many. to all of the races, all the races.
Hobgoblin. They trust in a code, be it God or communism or giant toad. They're a prideful chode, so whenever you fail, the more watch you retry means you go beast mode. If you're an edgy avian, Kenku sneaky, agile and crafty and can easily lie. They can mimic voices to be a bit cheeky. Too bad they get bullied because they can't fly. The kobold is a
Also, they can't apparently speak. They can only copy sounds they've heard, which is fun stuff lore-wise, but if someone's trying to play a lore-accurate one and only mimic other people's noises or sounds, that can be really, really annoying.
mischievous one. They hate bright light, and there's often more than one. They can trick dumb fools, then steal their jewels, but ganging up together.
Also, the effect that they have, which is what is it? Pack tactics is broken. People didn't think about it, but I was like, oh, hey, kobolds get sunlight sensitivity, which means if they're in light or sunlight or bright light or any kind of light that's below dim light, they get disadvantage at everything they're doing. Which, that sounds terrible, right? But the problem is they have something called pack tactics, which means that when they're next to a ally or a friendly creature or object or robot or friendly thing that can be interpreted to be on their side or adjacent to their ideas, they get advantage on attack rolls and various other things. Which means that there are certain classes and abilities that when you roll for advantage with something, you gain or special abilities or special properties. Which means that, oh, look, we're in a dungeon. We're not outside in the sun. You just roll with advantage. Advantage is one of those things which they gave to something and then they realize, oh God, we've so horribly messed up.
Together can be pretty fun. Guess it's scaly hours, cause lizard folk have sticks up their ass and can't take a joke. They can bite and craft and stay a while underwater and have hard ass scales to block cannon fodder. Loxodon are straight up elephants. They're large size and thick high and make them dense. Got trunks to smell and are wise and mostly merry, but piss one off and you'll see they're damn scary. Wanna breathe underwater? Lokatha is a fish. A straight up fish, literally just a fish. Your armor starts high and get tons of resistance. Stay dry and you die, you're still just a fish. Big beastly bull is a minotaur. Got horns to charge if you run pretty far. Make them shit their pants while you're at it. Being big and scary is a habit. Speaking of, orcs, superstitious and strong, but also often wrong with a -2 to int. That's okay, so to say you're aggressive and massive. Got angry parents means they're rarely passive. Cat girls rejoice, Tabaxi is here. Obsessed with stuff and quite the sightseer. Fast like a cat, get claws and climb far. Tons of coats like leopard, tiger, and jaguar. Tiefling's a demon with a lot of looks. They're horny and hot and often a provoker in the lore anyway. A lot of hate. It's normal, I guess, when you're a panty soaker. If you want to be a big reptilian who's strong.
Oh yeah, lore-wise, the tieflings are supposed to be hated by most people, but because in the fandom people love little horny colored people, then it's often not played out that way.
And hardy than Tortle. Has a shell that's AC is 1,000,000, so have fun being a hermit immortal. Triton is just an aquatic elf who evolved itself in the continental shelf, and you're basically Aquaman. Fish can understand you. No, they won't do your laundry just because you demand to. The Verdant, like a goblin, but pretentious. Mind powers that make mystics contentious. Bunch of passive shit. What is this, peace hour? Come back and talk to me when you learn real power. You on pure blood like humans, but snaky. Never make a date with one, I hear they're flaky. Manipulative bunch with magic resistance. Don't take their oral offer, no matter.
Yes, one of their free abilities is acid splash, which they can, I think, lore-wise, they shoot it out of their mouth. So it's like, always avoid oral. It's like, yes indeed, while acid's coming out.
Matter the persistence. Fair human mix is the Kalishtar. Got a lot of mind shit that's really bizarre, like telepathy, dream protectively, like angels if they couldn't be effectively. The shifters, like a half lycanthrope, with 4 different types with exclusive features. You can't transform, at least not fully, so you often look more like a freakish creature. Simic hybrids are a random fusion of aquatic things, like a squid or a crab. Gain bonuses, depending which one, so have some big pincers for new ways to stab. Warforged, robots forged for war, don't have to eat or sleep or breathe, and what's more is you're tanky as well, being hard to steal. The only downside is you'll never truly feel. Vidalkin tells us nobody's perfect. Look like Navi people without the long neck. They get lots of bonuses. Smart's not shocking. Good luck ever getting one to stop talking. And that's the lot. And always remember class race importance is pretty seldom. Use whatever you fancy. Make a chubby fighter dancing. Now you know how to pick your race. You're welcome.
Oh my god. Do you see that? Jocat made a video about races. Can you believe that? Oh my god, it's so disgusting. I can't believe he did that. Yeah, sorry about that. Just once again, I'm sort of mocking the Aiden and Blaine symbol. And now, Goblin.
What's wrong, you pathetic, sad, procrastinating dungeon master? Can't come up with a worthwhile and interesting combat encounter and you only have half an hour before the session because you spent the last week fascinating about a totally different campaign you wish to run one day but ultimately know you never will because you're in a constant state of prep work and insecurity? That's okay, everybody knows no matter how basic the combat is, it's going to take forever anyway thanks to any spellcasters and people on their phones, and is mostly just a chance for the DM to stall for time while they figure out the next story beats. That and an excuse to show off whatever art of the thing the players are fighting that the DM paid $3 grand in commissions or miniatures to make for them. Or you could just grab whatever the nearest thing on your shelf is and say, fuck it, we're fighting this little bastard today. Welcome to A Crap Guide to D&D.
That's the stuffed goblin, the plush goblin that Jocat made.
Goblins are one of the most iconic creatures in Dungeons & Dragons, famous for being low and mid-level cannon fodder, having the respawn rate of a seahorse playing Call of Duty, and being overall superior to kobolds in every way. Goblins are what you default to when you have no idea what the party should be fighting because they're just so splattered all over the realm that everyone just accepts that they can show up anywhere.
Alright, got myself some milk and cookies for some hunts, and I'll open the fridge and put the milk back where it went, and close the fridge and go get my milk.
God, Jesus, what the fuck? Goblins were originally created by the hobgoblins, who one day got really lazy and decided to make a generation of poor saps that they could shove all their baggage onto and then blame for when the economy they don't have a say in gets destroyed. This has sort of evolved into how goblins mostly live in tribes where the biggest asshole is the leader and everybody else is just sort of used to being treated as poorly as a retail worker. That's not to say all goblins are meek little green muppets. Given enough size and numbers and time to prepare an ambush, and even the most basic goblin squads can turn an 8th level party into the aftermath of eating at White Castle. This is because goblins are a culture constantly raiding like they're trying to get world first and have a knack for throwing themselves at the first thing they see that looks like they could potentially bite its ear off. They're also somewhat smart. Leaders of goblin tribes consistently placing first in tournaments of Connect 4, and the race as a whole frequently mounting and fighting alongside creatures such as wargs, which are oversized wolves that are perpetually angry as people keep stealing their art off Instagram. If you ever decide to play as a goblin, you'll receive a little bit of dex and con from being agile and resilient little gremlins, and the ability to quickly pussy out of combat like you're at a friend's house and the parents started arguing. And Fury of the Small, where you get to punch below the belt and make the enemy's voice go up as many octaves as your player level. Now that's the general idea of what goblins are supposed to be in the Forgotten Realms, but this is D&D, which means everybody breaks the rules more than an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the fact that goblins are so adaptable to so many situations and environments means that there's no limit to how they can be portrayed or what they can be used for. You can make them mindless monsters that fill the last few empty rooms of a dungeon, or adorable little scamps that the party will adopt the instant they see them, or design them so unexpectedly attractive that it'll make people question if they discovered a new fetish or if it was there all along and this was just its awakening. You too can throw an endless supply of XP at your party while giving them conflicting feelings on stomping on an innocent little cutie pie that was just minding its own business and just wanted a little bit of love. Isn't that right, you sweetie petite? Ow, son of a bitch. And now you know how to use goblins. Booyah! Didn't you already make a crap guide to Barbarian? Well, yes, but actually no, that one's garbage. It's shit. It's poopy doopy and in need of some update and polish like a live service game 2 minutes after release. I've gained a whopping 1 additional point in my intelligence since then, and I'm now superior in every way. Smarter, stronger, more wiggly than ever before. And this is the only one I'm doing, so don't hold your breath for the others. They're perfect forever. So let's start from the top. D&D is for dorks, what with all the complex words and math. It's packed to the brim with a bunch of mechanics and systems, and nobody has the time to read because they're too busy not playing D&D. But no worries, you third-string athlete who occasionally looks at their old high school pictures and then reflects in the mirror wondering what happened. Lucky for you, I have a class that'll need as much brain power as Varsity had to use on their midterms. And all you gotta do is learn how to throw a tiny plastic icosahedron just like how you threw every single game coach put you into. Welcome to A Crap Guide to D&D. Everybody likes to hit things, and D&D is the best because you can literally hit anything you want, including the other players, and what better class to hit everything than the barbarian, who's the best at hitting things and never stopping hitting things. Having a d12 hit die means you have around a googolplex of hit points by level 2, and unarmored defense means the chunkier you are, the better you can block and avoid attacks because the enemy's too distracted at how your fat hairy tits are flailing about. Better yet, you have spider sense, which allows you to avoid traps, spells, social events, and laundry like you've just moved out of your parents' house and are trying to get your life together. But enough about defense. The real reason to play barbarian is to hit it very hard, going into a bloodthirsty rage. You can channel your anger into the might of 1,000 dads who just felt the thermostat get adjusted, and during your rage you become the world's greatest goblin juicer. You gain bonus damage, advantage on strength checks, and any and all physical attacks will bounce off of your day 1 patched pecs. As you gain levels, you get progressively angrier and angrier, getting a straight up flat increase to your movement speed, an extra heavy swing when you land a crit, and become too angry to die potentially forever as long as you keep hitting things. As far as flavors of goes, there's the Berserker if you want to swing your weapon like it's taped to a ceiling.
Berserker sucks. Because literally one of their class features is, hey, you can use this ability to give you a slight advantage. You take 1 level of exhaustion. If you have 5 levels of exhaustion, your character just dies. And on top of that, there's no ability to easily remove exhaustion. You just have to hope the DM lets you remove it by sleeping for a really long time or just some other thing. But yeah, like, Berserker is one of the original ones, and it is terrible.
Fan mistaken stupidity for bravery and have an unlimited supply of Uno reverse cards. Alternatively, the Totem Warrior is like a gateway furry, where you channel your favorite Robin Hood crush and pretend
It is also the most customizable because of the various things you can pick.
everybody is Prince John. Battle Ranger to become a really pissed porcupine. Storm Herald if you want to make the environment around you as pissed as you are. Zealot if you want to be a diet paladin with a smite and aura that's made with 0 sugar. And Ancestral Guardian if you're a scared little bitch. Offense is the only offense, and I will have none of these tactics in my combat encounters. What, you thought I biggered my brain so I could think harder and waste time when all that planning fails because of a bad roll, and then I have to sit around being useless for the rest of the session? What do you take me for, some kind of wizard? Well, do you, huh? Fuck you, I'll beat the shit out of you. You think you're better than me just because you can count? I hope you like being pavement lotion because you're gonna be filling all the cracks in my driveway. And now you know how to play barbarian. You're welcome.
Hi, I just want to.
Alright. No, this might be the last one.
Take a sec for more people to notice and understand this disclaimer.
Because, yeah, people start bullying him because of this series. Too. But, yeah. Oop, that.
Most importantly, this part, I don't actually want to upset anyone.
I don't. Any jabs I throw at your favorite aspect or ways of playing are merely for comedic purposes only. Everyone plays differently, and there's nothing wrong with having fun however you like. The views of Jocat do not reflect the views of Jocat. Anyway, enjoy. But yeah.
Body, it's all part of the character, and I hope everyone keeps that in mind. We good? Okay.
Everybody likes personality quizzes, right? See what's your spirit animal, how burnt of a toasted slice of bread you are, what's your worst trait as an employee based on the brand of cereal you like to buy. They're great because most of the time, if you don't like what the quiz results give you, you can look up which answers contribute to what result and just get the one that you wanted in the first place and then brag about it on social media. Wow, would you look at that? I'm such a Slytherin because I'm so cunning, right? Yeah, well, joke's on you. That was all an intelligent ruse. I'm actually a Ravenclaw.
Or am I?
Same with star signs. They're just vague enough that they can boil down to
You're a thoughtful individual who sometimes overthinks things and can be impulsive.
that they can boil down to
Someone who spends too much time on Twitter.
You're a thoughtful individual who sometimes overthinks things and can be impulsive, but in the end of the day wants to do the best that you can for the people you care about while never settling for the worst possible outcome.
And I could say I just described a Libra and they'd eat that shit up like they're a pet that just found some stray cardboard. Luckily, Dungeons & Dragons doesn't have any of that dumb personality shit that nerds argue about for hours on the internet in hopes to totally pwn the other side with facts and logic or anything. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. An old relic of the past and the easiest way to start fights both on and offline, the D&D alignment chart is its version of a personality quiz that no one can agree on. You've likely
Well, the problem is it doesn't matter because there are certain abilities and certain weapons that only work if you're of a certain alignment. Like, the problem is there are people who are like, I'm neutral. I'm chaotic neutral, which, you know, to them basically means they're chaotic evil.
seen this tic-tac-toe board being used with pop culture characters being placed in each segment, giving a vague idea of what each of them means. But then all it takes is for you to put someone in the wrong place, and then everyone starts throwing fists as if they had just found out that you used their facial hair razor to shave your butthole. Remember, characters can only be one alignment forever, and must only ever do things considered to be that alignment, because thinking about character depth and development is hard, and when people disagree with me, I take it as a personal attack. More importantly, as a player, you get to say what your character's alignment is, and no one can ever debate that you're not playing that alignment because you know your character better than
Whatever, bro. Alignment is subjective anyway, so it's like, no,
they
it's
do,
not.
and they're just jealous and wish their scrubby sheet was as cool as yours, so they can suck fat nards. Small smooth brains think.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, my interpretation of the alignment chart is that evil is selfishness. How much are you focused on just doing things that benefit yourself? And good is how focused are you on doing things that help others over yourself? Like, there are characters in D&D that are considered evil, on the evil alignment, but you know, they're just like a butcher in Waterdeep, and that butcher isn't, you know, murdering people and doing, like, you know, unspeakable evil things just because they share technically the same alignment as a Sirac, the great evil lich of the Tomb of Horrors. But it's because he is a selfish person who focuses on his own things over other people. And even then, lawful doesn't mean that you follow the law blindly. Lawful means that you have a code. Yeah. Yeah. Evil people can do good things. Good people can do evil things. Because of, you know, oh, I'm doing this to help someone else, but as a result, a bunch of people are going to suffer. Meanwhile, a bad person can be like, I'm doing this thing for myself, but it unintentionally helps a bunch of other people. It's just, you know, people take it as evil as you must be a murderer of puppies and stuff like that. Well, neutral is just what most people are. They're just, you know, somewhere in between. But yeah.
Lawful means the literal sense, as in following the law, but instead what it really means is having a strict set of
Sorry. Yeah, I think this will be the final
rules, whether
video.
it be moral, legal, or because your boss is telling you to do it. It's one of the most predictable alignments. 99% of the time when a lawful character sets out to do something through a promise or obligation, they actually follow through, which is why they make great fitness instructors, because when they say they're not going to fuck your mom, they actually don't fuck your mom. A lawful good act is keeping the promise because it's the right thing to do. A lawful neutral keeps the promise because it is a promise and they're going to stick by it even if fucking your mom saves the universe. And a lawful evil keeps the promise because they're going to fuck your dad instead since you technically didn't say anything about him.
Well, yeah.
Inversely, the chaotic side of the chart are for characters that don't give a fuck about their integrity and do whatever the hell they want because they feel like it. Small smooth brains will use this alignment as an excuse to be a total wangrod and have an inconsistent character with no definable traits. Also known as the chaotic alignment's more recognizable cousin, the stupid alignment, with its concept.
Feelings, personal freedoms, instincts, and adaptability. That is the chaotic alignment. And it's stupid. Thinks D&D memes are funny in play. I'm so quirky and random. Annoying equals chaotic, right?
And wacky lol so random.
I killed a bunch of innocent goblins for a cool hat.
An XD approach to playing their character. The most common examples of
They also hate it whenever you try to apply the consequences of their actions to them. No! I just want to burn down a town and kill a bunch of people. Why are you making me suffer? This isn't fair. I hate those people. Or just, you know, like, I believe in allowing player freedom, but I believe in also adding consequences. If there are no consequences to your actions, then why would you bother trying to do, you know, and nothing feels special. And also, it's also just, you know, well, whatever. I won't
Chaotic
do it.
acts are lying, cheating, and stealing, aka part of a rogue's balanced breakfast. A chaotic good is stealing from the rich and giving to the less fortunate. A chaotic neutral cheats to win a tournament and uses the winnings to eat something aside from a bread sandwich every night. And a chaotic evil will lie about not fucking your dad again and then burst into his bedroom as soon as you blink like a really slutty weeping angel. The good and evil sides of the alignment chart are pretty straightforward. Good is
Actually, let's see, what does that say?
chart are pretty straightforward.
Simple design, cute pigtails, winning smile, adorable dress, ugly for like evil. Oh wait, for evil, good, tiny beady eyes, no cute pigtails, overly designed robes, ugly frown.
Forward. Good is if you're a good person, and evil if you're a jackass. But that's a small, smooth-brained, surface-level understanding of good and evil, as in no, just because you don't stab people doesn't mean not stabbing them is a good act just because stabbing them is a lot easier. Good acts are ones that go out of the character's way to do good and help others, sometimes even to the good person's detriment, and oftentimes even if there's no promise of any sort of reward in return for the act. Like using your own hand to get a friend's favorite Lego set out of the toilet, even after a night of really spicy curry. In contrast, evil is pretty straightforward, i.e. actions that could actively harm people, or not caring about how those actions could knowingly harm people. An evil act would be being the person who threw the Lego set into the toilet, knowing full well it could be somebody's favorite.
Please don't throw my Lego ETA 2 Pick Class Interceptor the toilet.
But good and evil doesn't just mean motives, it means methods too. And just because you have nice ends doesn't mean having mean means makes it any less mean. Example, you've caught a kidnapper and need to find out where they're hiding their captive so you can save them. A good act could be offering some snacks and a binge watch of their favorite show in return for information, whereas an evil act would be chopping their nipples off. The neutral cross of the alignment chart is for players who are terrified of commitment and refers to acts that either don't fall on either side of the good, evil, or lawful, chaotic side of the spectrum, or characters that are horse for choice and like to do whatever tickles their pickle the most depending on the situation. Maybe they'll be employee of the month for one boss and then shit on the desk of their next. Basically, the neutral ends of the alignment chart are the most pure and concentrated, like the curvature of my butt cheeks, and do basically anything and everything that could be considered the essence of that side of the chart. And of course the middle ground, true neutral, aka the one that's always playing devil's advocate for literally everything, like they spend 10 hours a day discussing opinions on Reddit. And there you have it, the totally accurate, totally objective descriptions for each side of the alignment chart with no room for any other interpretations whatsoever. And if anyone tries to argue otherwise, they can suck fat nards. Also, never let players pick their own alignment, because when they do, it actually looks like this.
But that's totally
No fun allowed, no personality. Lol, I'm so random. Good rules lawyer, no personality. Chaotic evil or lol, I'm so random. Nope. Murder hobo. No, murder hobo, no, or like nobody ever. Wait. Nobody will ever pick lawful evil. Well, you know, if you're playing lawful evil, you're playing a lawyer. Or
It's like this.
stereotypical.
But that's totally because I'm such a Gemini and we don't think
Likes food and breathing, has skin, dumb, but also smart. You like things and stuff. Avoid stinks. Yeah.
people are self-aware enough to be able to categorize themselves without being subconsciously influenced by their own personal biases.
And now you know how to use alignment. You're welcome.
Okay, well, I do not have time to play any other ones because I need to finish getting ready for work. Thanks everyone who came by. I really appreciate you coming by, especially for those who's like early. Thanks, I guess, as I said, according to your thing, it says Mule is the translation of your name. If you want me to play the last remaining ones later, there's the last two, which are the character sheet, where he explains how to use a character sheet, and the final for the D&D 5e, which is the crap to being a dungeon master, which is 22 minutes, and has a bunch of guest people. So maybe I'll do that another day. But either way, thank you and have a great day. I'll try to see you later. I'll continue playing Subnautica, and Mule, I'll try to get back to playing PlayStation 1 games after I beat Below Zero. Thank you and goodbye.